Hello guys, my name is Latamantis and I'm going to be showing you guys a complete guide on learning how to play Vayne. In this guide we're going to go through several exercises, some warm-ups, and some tips and tricks. I haven't seen many guides on Vayne that go into detail, so my job is to teach you guys how to play Vayne completely, and hopefully this guide can help anybody who wants to learn how to play Vayne, or help anybody who already knows how to play Vayne but could use a few tips. Vayne is kind of a difficult champion to play, but can solo carry games when mastered. She can dish out so much damage she can 1v5 the enemy, and she's really fun to play. So with that being said, we can just jump right into this guide. Because this is a complete guide to Vayne, we're going to go through several exercises. The first one is, you want to pick up Vayne and head on over to practice tool. Once inside, you want to start moving around. Click in any direction. Move up and down and side to side. The purpose of this exercise is so you can get a feel for Vayne's basic movement animation. First up is Vayne's passive, Night Hunter. Vayne gains 30 bonus movement speed when moving towards a visible enemy champion. This passive is increased to 90 bonus movement speed when final hours active. Next up is Vayne's Q, Tumble. You want to press Q in any direction and start moving around. This way you get the feel for the animation of Q and the animation with the movement with Q on. And until you discharge it. Quick tip, Vayne's Q is an auto attack reset. Next is Vayne's W, Silver Bolts. Silver Bolts is a passive ability. Vayne's basic attacks will apply a Silver Bolt stack on an enemy target. This passive stacks up 3 times, with the third one consuming all previous stacks and dealing true damage based on the target's maximum health. Next up is Vayne's E, Condemn. You want to E onto an enemy target. Move around and cast E from different angles. Don't forget to cast E from its maximum cast range as well as out of its cast range. This way you get the feel for the animation of casting E as well as the seconds it takes for Vayne to walk up to the target and condemn them. Quick tip, you can use Condemn onto champion created terrain like Anivia and Talia's walls, Jarvan's ultimate, and Ornn's Q. Last but not least is Vayne's ultimate, Final Hour. You want to press R and start moving around. This way you get the feel for the animation of it casting as well as the movement animation of Final Hour. Quick tip, whenever a champion damaged by Vayne dies within 3 seconds, Final Hour's duration is extended by 4 seconds, up to a maximum of 8, 10, and 12 seconds. Don't forget to cast your Q with your ultimate, your E with your ultimate, and both Q and E. Now that we got all the exercises out of the way, it's time to work on some kiting. The one and only warm-up is, you want to place a target dummy in the center of a big area, big enough for you to kite around it. Then, you will auto, move, auto, move, auto, move. You do not want to auto move stop. Reason being, when an enemy champion is chasing you, you want to create as much distance as possible between you and the enemy champion. Autoing, then making a movement command until the max distance the next auto attack will register, will be more effective than autoing, making a movement command, then stopping prematurely before the next auto attack can register. Quick tip, at higher attack speeds, this becomes irrelevant. Also, don't forget to throw in some movement commands going back and forth, kind of like if you were dodging skill shots. Throw in some Qs as well, so you can get used to kiting this way. And that's it for warm-ups. Now that we got all the exercises and the warm-ups out of the way, it's time to work on some actual tricks. The first trick is an auto attack into flash auto attack into Q auto attack. This is 3 auto attacks and 1 silver bolt proc. Ideally, you want to kill the enemy champion within 3 auto attacks and 1 silver bolt proc. So this will require you to know exactly how much damage 3 auto attacks can do and 1 silver bolt proc, depending on how many points you have into it. The reason behind that is, you only want to use this when you and the enemy champion are tiptoeing between dying. All it would take is one of you to outplay the other. This is kind of a difficult trick, but it pays off. Most of the time you will burn their flash while burning your own, but while securing a kill. So in order for this trick to work, you need to practice how far you have to flash before you're in attack range. So what I would suggest is you place a target dummy in the center of a big area. Then I would place yourself in all directions at your maximum auto attack range. Then I would flash away from the target dummy. This way, you will know exactly how far you need to be before you flash in to be in auto attack range. Now on to trick number 2. Trick number 2 is an E flash combo. What this is, it's an E and then you press flash immediately after you've cast E. But you'll want to cast flash into the direction that you want E to go. E will travel in a vertical line. So if you were in a straight line horizontally and you E'd that way, but flashed vertically 90 degrees, now E will travel vertically as well, if that makes any sense. Now this can get really tricky. For example, in the video clip above, you wouldn't want that happening. So what I would do is, I would go to a place where there's 2 walls pretty close to each other, kind of like you see on screen. Then I would place target dummies in a line with enough space in between each one and put them close to the wall. After that, set your cooldowns low and your mana pool limitless. Start practicing your E flash exactly like you see on the screen. You'll also want to practice from different angles, so place the dummies in different directions. Practicing this way will ensure that you get the flash E combo. Remember to take your time and be patient with it. Whatever you don't get now, you will eventually get. Remember, practice makes perfect. This next trick is kind of like a tip and trick in its own, so we're going to go over that right now. This is in regards to casting Condemn after an auto attack. So ideally, you want to press E immediately after an auto attack, and not treat E like an auto attack. But because casting E will ground you to the position, you want to stay in the same position that you auto attacked. At lower attack speeds, this isn't really noticeable, but once you get to higher attack speeds, it becomes much more noticeable, and your DPS starts to increase more. Now I'm going to demonstrate it with a video clip on screen. Now in this clip, instead of a regular auto attack, I'm throwing in a Q auto attack and then Condemn. It's the same idea. Also, when going at this high of attack speed, you want to be careful. After condemning someone, making a movement command will make Vayne stutter for just a quarter of a second. Now there's 2 options you can do. So after you Q auto attack and then E, you can wait for Vayne to auto attack, or you can Q auto attack into E, wait a quarter of a second, then make a movement command. For me, most of the time, I will go with the latter option because it's much more cleaner in my opinion, but it's up to personal preference. Now I'll show you the good and the bad. First the good. Now the bad. A neat trick you can do with EQ is, you can Q right after you've condemned an enemy champion. Typically you want to Q backwards, mostly for style points, but used for running away. This next trick is pretty simple. RQ into E. I'm going to show you a situation in which you would use this. Let's say for example you were being chased by an enemy champion. What you want to do is run close to a wall. Then you would do this combo, RQ into E. Press both abilities with R being slightly faster. Now you have 1 second to run behind the enemy champion. At this moment you can condemn immediately after, you can auto then condemn, or you can auto RQ, auto then condemn. This also works in bushes, just make sure you don't lose vision of them. Now for the ruins. You want to take precision as your primary path, and your secondary path is optional. Usually I'll go inspiration as my secondary path to get those biscuits, as well as futures market to buy items quicker. For your keystone, any of these are good. Most of the time I'll go press the attack when I play Vayne top, and I'll go lethal tempo when I play her bot. For your items, you're going to have 2 builds that I recommend, one for top and one for bot. For Vayne top, your core items are going to be Gwynso's Rage Blade, Phantom Dancer, and Blade of the Ruined King. When playing Vayne bot, your core items are going to be Infinity Edge, Static Shiv, and Phantom Dancer. One build is meant to melt tanks, the other build is meant to kill squishies. When you play Vayne top, you want to buy Berserker's Greaves first because of the movement speed and the attack speed to harass effectively. Then, depending on the enemy that you're facing, you either go Blade of the Ruined King first or Gwynso's first. Go with Blade of the Ruined King if you need to sustain, or go Gwynso's if you want more damage. For bot lane, you want to build a Static Shiv or IE first, and then a Phantom Dancer. And now, to complete this guide, I'm going to give you some tips that you should consider when playing Vayne. RQ gives you invisibility for 1 second. You don't need to necessarily auto immediately after invisibility. You have 1 full second. Use it to your advantage. Secondly, when in a bush or in the fog of war, you can sneak 1 auto attack before RQ. Thirdly, you don't need to use Q to close a gap between you and the enemy champion to get into auto attack range. Most people will tend to do that, and in doing so will put you directly inside the enemy's ability range. Instead, rely on Vayne's passive to close the gap between you and the enemy champion while using Q to dodge skill shots. Fourthly, you can use Q onto a wall to cancel the animation, making your next auto attack much quicker. The last tip I have for you guys has to do with silver bolts. While attacking an enemy champion underneath their own turret, you can auto the turret and not lose silver bolt stacks on the enemy champion. So you can auto them, and while they back up, you can auto attack the turret. But you have 4 seconds to apply another silver bolt stack. This also works on inhibitors as well. It's a quick tip to catch enemies off guard. That's it for this guide. Thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully this guide was informative, as I tried my best to put everything that I know about Vayne into this guide, and maybe this helps anybody who wants to learn how to play Vayne. I will come out with a video on how to play Vayne top, as I normally play Vayne top. I almost never ADC Vayne, I just don't like ADC Vayne. So I will come out with a Vayne top video if anybody's interested. But with that being said, if you guys like this Vayne guide, go ahead and smack the crap out of the like button. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Other than that, thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope to see you guys on the next one.